I think best place to start, I'll start on the front page of the Tribune, where it seems as if we suddenly do not understand our theaters of war any longer. That headline, Boko Haram ISWAP clash at Borno border, over 150 killed. We're seeing that police and DSS are intensifying. Suddenly, it's like the security agencies have woken up. We don't care about Trump's threats. Sovereignty is important, but everybody is suddenly awake. And then all of a sudden, Boko Haram and ISWAP are fighting. I don't know if you saw the video of them in the boats. Yeah, firing shots in the air and waving at each other. Sure. That looked very staged to me. No. To make it look like there's Christian problem, Muslim problem. I'm sorry, my opinion.
Clearly, what I see is that people knew what their jobs were, but they refused to do their jobs. There's something happening, especially in the northern part of the country. It's like, I think there's a book I read, so the lie agreed upon. So you have people saddled with the responsibility of securing the country. They know what to do. They know who to go after, but they turn a blind eye. And suddenly Trump issues a threat. All of them are saying different things. Even Sheikh Gumi. Sheikh Gumi is
in Turkey right now, by the way.
Atlantis is taken off because he could be picked out at any time because of his utterances on the issue already. He is now a person of interest, just like Nigeria is also a country of interest. So how do you, in a country where there's, unquote, state-backed terrorism, and someone is telling you, you are backing the terrorists, you are backing people who are killing Christians, the most you can do is to start pushing back. Why not come back and take a look at what you've done in the theaters of war, unquote? Sambisa Forest, since I've been hearing about Sambisa Forest, there has never been a statement from the Nigerian army saying that they've completely dominated Sambisa Forest. I'm sure you've never seen that statement. Not even the Nigerian Air Force. Not even the Nigerian Air Force. So what are they telling us? What is that thing in the Sambisa Forest that nobody wants to tell us? So because because the whole thing is centered around that. The bandits know what they are getting by being the bandits. So apart from the fact that Christians are being killed in the process, there's also a resource part of this whole crisis. So one guy I read on Instagram, they should wake the F up.
Well, quite interesting.
But Barrister, so I just want Barrister to follow up with that, because the second part of it, the major headline is about Boko Haram and ISWAP clashing. And I want to know your view on that. Now, we've stopped having the Nigerian army versus Boko Haram. We're having ISWAP, the Islamic State for West Africa, clashing with Boko Haram. What is going on here?
My take is that among the terrorists, there are those that are extreme. And you know, the Muslim religion are those that they have ideological differences. There are those that believe on the side of Iran and those on the side of Saudi Arabia. But I am happy you started this. There is a relevant thing that Tribune published October 12, 1960, that is the root of all these problems. I read it here once. What Ahmadu Bello said, within 2 weeks of our getting independence, that this country, this new nation called Nigeria, is an state of his grandfather. As far as I'm concerned, it is Islamization and Fulanization that is going on here. And they may have their differences. We also have it in the Christendom. About 3 weeks ago, the king went to worship with the Pope in the Vatican. We which is something that was unexpected over 500 years ago. The Catholic Church, there was a division in the church, the Christianity. We started having the Anglican Church. And later on, we have the ones they call evangelicals or Pentecostals. So among the Muslims, there are those issues. But the greatest issue we have with Islam is that, unlike in the case of Jesus Christ, who never encouraged violence, he did all his preaching and Christianity through persuasion. Jesus Christ never encouraged violence. But we find that the prophet of Islam, the great Muhammad, there was never a time, it was all about jihad, war. We should be looking at these problems we're having from the background. For instance, we find that if you Google all the flags of the whole world, you will see that it's only in the flag of Saudi Arabia that you see a very long sword. But if you look at the Vatican or the Anglican Church in England, there's no place you see. Or look at all other flags. You know that in the case of USA, there are 50 stars. Israel, there is the Star of David.
Right.
You cannot see it. Then finally, I want to bring up this issue about Trump.
Okay, before you do that, because that's exactly where we're going, but first, let's go on this quick break. When we come back, we'll look into that matter. I'm quite excited to know what you think. Stay tuned. The Morning Show returns in split seconds. Don't go anywhere. With us, you're still watching the Afia Morning Show and still looking at headlines this Tuesday morning. Now on The Nation, Barces Aputa, I want to know your overall take on the threats of military action by U.S. President Donald Trump in Nigeria, especially as it relates to the renewed headlines we're seeing about military activity. As seen on The Nation, airstrikes kill terrorists in Borno, pound hideouts in Katsina, Kwara. As the security operatives will say, they are neutralizing some of these armed groups. And this is coming in the wake of course, Trump's threat of military action. What's your take on everything going on?
See, my take is that Trump, when he was in his first term, I was right there in New York when he was in his first term, and he has 4 policies or agenda. 1, to protect he's a racist, to protect the white people of this world. 2, he's a conservative, his party is a conservative, in their own political system. They have ideologies. The Republicans are conservative, the Democrats are not conservative, they're liberal. Then 3, to protect Christians all over the world. That is his third agenda. White people of this world, conservative government, and protect Christians all over the world. He has a 4th one, and that is his attitude to, he's not a feminist. He prefers men to women.
So let's speak directly to his threat of military action and what it
Yes,
means.
because one of his policies is to protect Christians all over the world. And it didn't start today. I said it here some time ago. That since Western civilization started, Western civilization includes Christians, Jews, freedom of this, freedom, the free world, since it started. It started with Greece. And when Greece was in charge, this democracy we are talking about now is from Greece. It was the duty of Greek government to protect all these things,
Right.
including and Judaism.
You've established that. The question is, should the military intervention in Nigeria be encouraged? That's the question.
Yes. The first time this issue came out was when Tinubu was in government. Tinubu accused Jonathan of a situation where Christians are being killed. So it's not the first time it's coming up. Now, but the problem we're having is that the Muslims or the other group are saying that it is not only Christians that are being killed. They have brought out the list of Muslims that have been killed. Why should anybody be dying? The rate at which people die in these countries is unprecedented, because I know in France, about a year ago, one teacher died. I know how all the people of France came out. So why should people be dying the rate that dying this way?
So that threat should get encouraged. You think the U.S. military should intervene in Nigeria? Is that what you're saying?
I am on the same position with Adeboye. Adeboye, one of our 5-star.
Please rehash the position. Rehash the position
of Adeboye.
Your position.
Adeboye is saying that that Trump should give our president 100 days. If he doesn't stop the killings in Nigeria, then on the 90th day, he should intervene. And I'm happy that our Christian leaders have started talking. Because for a very long time, we were wondering whether we don't have Christian leaders. I'm happy our Christian leaders have started talking.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Zaputa. Let's come back to you now, Mr. Alex. I want us to move to the case of alleged fraud being leveled against, of course, the former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and also former Governor of Bayelsa State. Now he's been accused of diversion of funds initially meant for a refinery. Right? I mean, you see his spokesperson coming out to say 1 minute is alleged of being complicit in an alleged coup plot.
That's right.
And next minute is about funds diversion. What's your appreciation of the challenges that Timi Prince Silva may be facing at this point in time?
You know, Bayelsa is a state of interest to me for very personal family reasons. So I'm looking at the situation with Timi Prince Silva. So suddenly he fell out with people he used to dine with, because to my understanding, he was a staunch stalwart of the APC. So now what happened? What went wrong? He was a Minister of State for Petroleum. So who handed him all these monies? I thought everything was going well. I thought the refineries were working. At least that's what we were told. Mr. Namdo, we were told that the refineries were working. So what now happened? How did Timi Prince Silva announce that money for refinery? So because we are confused. Who handed him the money? I thought they had a blockchain system of assigning money for maintenance of refinery. So how did Timi Prince Silva end up with all that money just by himself, unto himself? And he was allowed, no one else saw him, no one else escorted him. He changed the money into any currency of his choice and made away with it and left the country.
Didn't he have another charge recently?
No, so because first of all, when the rumor about the coup plot came out, his name was referenced. They say he ran away from Nigeria, that he sponsored a coup.
Right.
So the question is, if Timi Prince Silva sponsors a coup, how does he stand to benefit from it? Because at the end of the day, yes, because so if there's been a coup attempt, the first thing you will check is who will benefit from that coup if it's succeeded. So how will Timi Prince Silva have benefited from the coup?
One would
We're
say
aware that he's not even running for president.
Anybody involved in a coup, especially the person accused of financing it or who actually finances it, if that coup plot is successful, we understand that there are huge benefits, huge gains for those. But then if it fails, the consequences are also just as there.
The question is, only those that are alleging there was a coup plot know that. Because we are not in a position to know that. The people who meddle and peddle, intelligence, they are the ones who know whether there was a coup or maybe they cooked it up to divert attention.
Now,
but then quickly The service chiefs were reshuffled.
Right. Now, Silva has been declared wanted by EFCC. His photo is everywhere in what looks like a mugshot, and people are, they're asking, the commission is asking people with any information about his whereabouts to go ahead and contact them. I mean, isn't this damaging to his reputation? The same one with Sujimoto?
Well, you see, but right now, if not that you mentioned Sujimoto, a lot of people have forgotten about it. Oh, that will pass too. Nigerians are more worried about America attacking us than looking for Timi Presilva. So, are you telling me that the Nigerian intelligence
is it attacking us or rescuing us?
Are you telling me that the Nigerian intelligence community don't know where Timi Presilva is?
All right, Barrister Zaputa.
If they want to get him today, they will get him. So all this playing to the gallery needs to stop.
That's right. What's your take, Barrister Zaputa?
We find that in Section 10 of our Constitution, that this country is a secular state. And a lot of problems we're having, including insecurity, is that we are not actually running a secular state. I lived in the north. This Sharia law is still going on, even against Christians. And at the law school, instead of teaching us about our laws, federal laws, they taught us Islamic law for 2 weeks. Very funny type of law. And one of them was the one that all Southerners law school started wondering what type of law is operating. For instance, one said that if you want to divorce your wife, all you need to do is to go to Sharia court and swear 3 times. Wallahi talahi, she committed adultery 1. Wallahi talahi, she committed adultery 2. Wallahi talahi, she committed adultery 3. Once you finish, they will not call your wife and say, yes, madam, you have heard what your husband says. Is it true? No. It's all over. Divorce case over. Which is against a very important principle of our law, fair hearing. They get to hear about the wife. So there's a lot of problems we have. You know, even the Constitution, we are, okay, wait a minute. Section 14, subsection 2B says the security of the people and the welfare of the people is the main goal of every government. Where is the security? Where is the welfare of the people? Where is it? And I want to say this again. When I was living in Lagos, when Tinubu was the governor, there was so much insecurity that as a community leader, everybody started building street gates, all this and that.
U.S. President Trump accused Nigeria of being a disgraced country. Disgraced country.
Yes, it's a disgraced country.
You agree with the U.S. President?
In total, no.
Nnamdi, what's your take on this discussion?
Well, let me explain why it is.
Before you come now, I'd love to hear Nnamdi's contribution to this discussion.
It's a disgraced country.
I think there's so much talk in the media of Nigeria being demarketed, and with every statement from the APC, the government, and their cronies, it shows that Trump is right. I mean, rather than face the issues, we are saying things like Igbos and IPOB are the one that are trying to force US to do this.
That's what
they are now making it a tribal thing. And you know, people don't understand how dangerous this is. I was still living in Lagos during the EndSARS protest, and I remember how they dissipated it. All the news outlets there carrying news that IPOB is behind the riots, IPOB is burning the toll gates, IPOB are burning police stations. And I'm like, IPOB? And this was how they deflected the attention from the people who were showing government, the actual people in Lagos State and federal government. So when you see the government take an approach to demonize a group of people as against do the right work, you can't deny, you can't be coming and say, oh, you are the ones that are telling people who are killing. Who is shouting that they are being killed? And this is the irony. He's a Christian of northern extraction. They're from Taraba, Plateau, Benue, Kogi, Gombe, Yobe, Sokoto. That's where these preachers complain they are being killed are coming from. They are from Ekwa and churches that are dominated in the north.
That's correct.
But you said it is Igbos and IPOB. that formed an organization funded by Peter Obi. You know, I'm sorry, but with all due respect to senior and legendary colleague Bayo Ononuga, if Trump wants to use the word disgrace, I know exactly who he needs to use it for, because some of the utterances are most unbefitting and unbecoming of somebody of that stature and in such a sensitive position, a position where you should keep Nigeria, you know, in a position where everybody should feel loyalty, want to come together, and you know, how can we? You're talking of national unity, and you are saying it by demonizing. Now, what is trending in the to go, let them go. If you go to social media, it is so toxic. People involved. People like Buhari's former SSA, Bashir Ahmed. You have SSA to Lagos State Government on digital media, Jubril Gawat. These are people in government, people involved in pushing. You have Bayo Ononuga, spokesperson for the president. These are people involved. Israel, Dayo Israel. You have youth leaders of the APC. These are not everyday men on the street. These are people involved with the government, close to the presidency. And if the president is saying he's not aware of their utterances, then his problem is bigger than Boko Haram and ISWAP. And that's the honest truth.
So, I mean, typically what I see, there's a lot of hypocrisy. And I find some of the statements coming from around the presidency so chilling. Because you already know what the problem is, but you're always looking for someone to blame. Deal with the problem. But always, Southeast is always the problem. Daniel Buala goes on a foreign TV channel and says that it's IPOB that asked the US to intervene. And then, so meaning that you even admitting that we're killings in Nigeria lends credence to the fact that you need to do something, but you haven't done it. So at what point were you going to take charge and deal with the problem in Nigeria? Because at the end of the day, if Nigeria goes into another armed conflict, it will not stop. It won't stop.
Well,
because we had a 3 year
organized so badly into so many nations.
We had a 3 year civil war, and that war only ended because of food blockade, because Biafra couldn't get food to eat. Imagine for a moment that as at 1968 or 69, there was a lot of food coming into Biafra, and they managed to get weapons. It would have been a very prolonged conflict.
You know, I'm not a big fan of calling it a civil war.
No,
because what you had was some people in their homes, and you know, there was no expansionist.
Yeah,
in a civil war, there was no attack outside. It was basically a defense.
Yes,
I understand that to what the US is calling it genocide.
That's what it is.
That is civil war.
Sure. But the point I'm making is that because of the knowledge available, people can fly in weapons even with drones.
Yeah.
So the Nigerian government have their work cut out. They should get the job done and stop playing the blame game.
And there are too many theaters of war.
It's not going to benefit anyone. They are still on cruise. They're on cruise, enjoying being in government. You know, does that feel good thing about being in government? That's where Bayo Ononuga is now. Femi Adesina was there before.
All right, we're already out of time. Thank you so much.
I want to add that.
Very briefly, Barrister Dapta. Go ahead.
Briefly, it took me 7 years to write my first book, African Child Soldier. If you read chapter 12 of it, 12th century child, 21st century child soldier, you will see all these things are there. The cause of all this is, and even the solution is there. And unless we're very careful, we're going to enter into a more terrible war. I agree with Nnamdi that it was not a civil war, it was genocide. I was there. And this thing included children. But if not for British support, Russian fighters and bombers, and Egyptian pilots, that war would have lasted for 7 years.
Ojukwu had a statement for what happened. He called it all the people that ganged up against Biafra. He said Biafra was up against what he referred to as Pan-Arabism.
I mean, we're going to check that out. And of course, we hope we don't have to play this back later and say that Barrister Zaputa warned about this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, we could go on forever, but I mean, there has to be an accurate time to count. So let me do that. Thank you.
And that's it.
The Morning Show returns, and when we come back, we'll be looking at an in-depth reportage on some of the local government areas where elections held on, of course, on Saturday. Stay tuned.